Hey, saltwater anglers, and welcome to the Lower Chesapeake Bay Fishing Report, your local report, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. This podcast is part of the Great Days Outdoors Network, and each week we'll be talking to local experts to learn ways we can become better anglers in our pursuits offshore, nearshore, and inshore. To keep this amazing fishery healthy and thriving for generations to come, remember to protect what you pursue. Summer fishing is fired up with warm water and hungry fish moving into the bay. So let's hear who's making the show possible, and then we'll jump into the reports. This podcast is brought to you by EMS and Indeck PVC decking. Hooks rust, lines tangle, the one that got away always does. Some things aren't meant to last. This isn't one of them. For coastal homeowners, marina and dock properties, and waterfront builders, Indeck delivers a premium finished surface without the constant upkeep. Indeck's capped cellular PVC dock and deck boards never rot, clean up easily with soap and water, and offer strong slip resistance in wet or dry conditions. Indeck, designed for what comes next. See the full line at pages.easternmetal.com/Great Days.
All right, y'all. Welcome to this week's show. I want to go talk to somebody who we can always rely on to be honest. And like we always talk about on the show, it's a fishing report, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. So we're going to welcome Captain Austin Hain back to the show with Fineo Sport Fishing. How we doing, Captain?
What's up, man? I'm good. I just got off the water. Had actually an early trip today. I'm feeling good and hanging out. What's going on?
Oh, just trying to think of the next time I'm going to get out there and fish. I'm hoping to jump back out up to the windmills sometime. I've seen a couple of things that have concerned me a little bit, which we'll talk about today, like the red tide, for example. So I don't know, man. I really would love to know what's been going on with you on the last couple of trips. What have you guys been? Have you targeting Cobia, I assume, lately?
Yeah, just primarily Cobia. And you just mentioned it right there with the red tide. A lot of stuff has changed. You know, the Spanish like the clean water. The drum haven't been making much appearances at all. With I'm assuming it's a red tide because they're usually all over right now. But yeah, a lot of stuff's changed with red tide. So I've been strictly Cobia fishing, just trying to avoid it, and that's really all you can do when every day you go out. You just gotta escape the red tide. That's been the name of the game.
It's hard to do, especially when I saw some videos on social media of some spotter planes further up the bay showing the the red tide, and inevitably, obviously, it made its way down here. And we've seen this year over year at different times. And I'm trying to remember what causes red tide typically, and why do we normally end up seeing it down here in the lower Chesapeake Bay?
So I'm going to sound stupid, but this is what I think it is. I don't know. It's bad. I mean, it's really bad. I mean, you see it and you know a fish ain't going to live in it. So I hope I'm getting this right. And tell me if I'm crazy. I think it's the fertilizer they use up north in their farms. And then when it rains a ton, it drains into the water. And then obviously fresh water up there, rivers, bays, whatever. It comes out of the river, goes to the bay. And then when it's really hot out, like hot water temperatures, it blooms that algae growth that creates red tide. Correct? Is that crazy to say? I'm right, right?
I'm like 99% sure you're correct. And then I remember every time we've ever seen it, it's been right on the backside of a season of really, really hot weather. And then the sea surface temperatures just, kind of boil up, and it creates like the perfect environment where that runoff that normally just kind of, I guess, gets filtered out or whatever, instead it hits and blooms, and then we see red tide.
Yep. And it was, if you remember, like, I don't know, was it 2-3 weeks ago? We had that week of just brutal rain.
So hot. Oh, the rain, yes.
It was hot. And then the rain came, a lot of rain for like 5 days straight. And then it was right after that, it was just this red tide just appeared. And it actually has been getting better, I'm guessing through the tide cycles and all that as it's kind of pushing out. But for a while there, it wasn't like, it was weird because you'd have to tell your customers like, hey guys, I know where the cobias are, but I don't know if we're going to be able to fish there today. We're going to go out there and see. And if it's red, we're just going to have to keep driving. Where are we going? We're not going to stop till we see something we can even start looking in. It was a weird situation because every day was so different trying to figure out where to even start because this red water was just disgusting.
Yeah, and it kind of forces you to have to fish wherever there's clean water instead of being able to fish where you want to fish or where you think there should be fish.
Correct.
And that can be tricky too, because then you kind of end up pigeonholed into just these certain areas. And before we get too far, remind folks, what kind of boat is it that you run, and what are the different species that you guys specialize in with Fineo Sport Fishing?
So I got a 24-foot Pathfinder. Of course, it's got the second station on the tower. Our main two species that we're really known for that we do every day is cobia and redfish. But of course, you've got Spanish mackerel, you've got sheep's head, a little bit of everything. Whatever's in the bay at the time, we'll catch it. But our two main species are always cobia and redfish.
That's right. And, in your last couple of trips, it was funny. I called you this morning and said, hey, I want to get a fishing report from you. And you're like, there's no fishing report. Well, so what was going on when I called you today? And you're like, this fishing's terrible. What made you say that?
So it's just been funny because, again, with this red tide, it's been so inconsistent because you don't know if you're going to find clean water right away where you want to fish, or you're going to have to move around. And, so for instance, yesterday, we went out, and another variable for you, not even including red tide, I took my boat all the way to the eastern shore. And this was, again, to kind of escape the red tide because the upper bay, like York River, Baltimore Channel, First, Second Island, completely out. It was red the other day. So I said, I'm going to take my boat to the eastern shore, and I'm going to fish that beach over there. I mean, there's always fish over there. Always, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm about to put the boat in the water, and I'm backing down, and sure enough, there's freaking, 30 Omega boats. And so that was the first variable yesterday, but I'll get to it. So I come out, and I'm starting to see a little bit of bait, where the Cobia's going to hang out. I found clean water. Everything was looking good. But Omega was just destroying the area. There was sludge, dead bunkers everywhere. They were netting the whole area. So long story short, I couldn't fish there. So I kept moving and kept moving and kept moving. And we saw a handful of fish, nothing worth your time. And I was like, dude, this day sucks. What is going on? And then at 2:00, from 2 to 5 o'clock, there was all the fish you could ever want to cast at. I mean, they were everywhere. But again, before then, there was nothing, just a handful of fish every once in a while. And then today, I said, well, I'm not going back over there because, I don't want to go battle all the netters just scooping up that whole area. So I went to a different part, and that's when you called me. As soon as I slowed the boat down, I was like, dude, I didn't see anything worth our time till 2:00 in the afternoon yesterday. And then I was like, oh my God, there's a fish right there. I said, let me call you back. And
but you didn't hang up. That was the funny part. I kept talking. I was like, well, what'd you see? And then I just hear you narrating, fish right there. Nice fish on the right side. Get him, eat it. And I'm like, what's going on? And I realize that I'm in your pocket still on the phone with you, but not on the phone with you.
Gotcha. Oh, that's good. You got to hear it. Well, it ate. That was our first fish. And I was like, it was 48 inches. And I was like, okay, cool. There's fish here. I was like, was that a fluke? Or am I going to have to wait till 2:00 for them to be up again? And then ended up being probably the best trip we've had this week. I mean, there was a point where we ran out of rods to throw. So I usually only bring 5 rods. And
oh, wow.
And I got 2 live bait rods, 2 lure rods, and I have a exotic on another just if I want to throw something weird at them. And we had no baits. All the lures were hooked up in fish's mouth, and these were all from separate fish, not one encounter where, it's a group of fish. I couldn't even move the boat for probably a good 20 minutes. They're just swimming by, and we hooked them all. We caught a ton, and that's why I'm able to talk to you right now. Was by 11:30 this morning, my guy says, dude, we're good. He's like, we don't need to catch anymore. We're happy. Take us in. I was like, say no more. And we came in. So it just goes to show you, there's a lot of fish. It's really good fishing if you could escape these variables of the netters, of the red tide, blah, blah, blah. It's really, there's a lot of fish in our area right now. A lot.
So a couple things that stand out to me. One, it sounds like if you're having a slow day of fishing, the first thing you need to do is get on the phone with me. No, I'm just kidding. So no, that's
a real technique, by the way. Phone fishing, that's a real technique. You call somebody, you're guaranteed when your hands are not, ready to go, there's a fish. But I'm listening. Go ahead.
No, I would call it, for me, I would call it lunch fishing. It's like, I swear, the moment I'm like, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to go downstairs and grab my sandwich. It's like, I'm like halfway down the ladder. Oh, nice fish. And you're like, oh my gosh, Um,
Yep.
but yeah, it's a weird phenomenon for sure. But no, this sort of biomass, I'm calling it biomass, but like I've heard some other people say they've seen more fish kind of moving through like the windmill area and the slightly offshore areas kind of moving back this way. Do you feel like we're seeing a sort of second wave of fish start to move in?
I mean, I know there's a ton in Jersey right now up that way. I mean, it really hasn't been like bad. So I can't say like they were gone and then they reappeared. It's just been
Okay.
if you can get to the right area, aka the red tide or the netters, whatever, it's just been good. I mean, I'm sure there's waves or whatever, like a fish coming from the north that are passing through.
Yeah.
But it's been pretty consistent this year. Like but the thing is, like the last few days, it's been when you go, you need to dedicate a day to it to see the best of it. Sure, if you go out from 9 to noon, you'll have a couple shots, but you're not going to see the greatness of it. So it's just when they come up and you're in that area, it's really good. But who knows if it's going to be 3 o'clock tomorrow? Who knows if it's going to be noon? Who knows if it's going to be 8 a.m. in the morning? It's really strange on how, and it's not tide related. Normally it's like, I would always say the second tide of the day is when it's going to get good. But this year, it's just, or this past week or two, it's been like, we just got to I know we ain't seeing much. Once you start seeing stuff like bait, or even a lot of what I've been doing is looking at my machine, and that's how I've been finding areas. So I'm not seeing a lot of cobias, right? Cool. But if I'm marking bait, a lot of bait, 20 feet down, eventually that bunker is going to come to the surface and there's going to be fish on it.
Right.
So I just hang out in that
Right.
area and I'm just like, guys, they're here. Like, we just keep driving. Like, I know we're doing circles for no reason, but they're coming. And at some point, whether it's 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 9, 6, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, they're every day they come up
Eventually.
at some point, and it is really good when they come up. But before then, it's pretty slow. It's been really weird with that. Really weird.
Yeah. I've talked to some folks recently about, their experience, like listening to the podcast and learning tips and then applying them. And I've always said, I'm like, yeah, when you listen, you have to listen really carefully, because they'll say, charter captains will say things in passing, but there's like nuggets of wisdom in what they're saying that you have to really think about. So what I really heard you just say is when they come up, when I see bait, and then essentially what I hear you say is I'm choosing to be patient and committed to an area that I believe in until it produces. And I think that's what can be hard for the average recreational angler, is the impatience and that sense of panic that sets in when it's 1 o'clock, 1:30, 2 o'clock, and you've only seen two fish all day, that you just start like kind of running around, mad looking for fish, hoping you're going to see something, and you almost stop paying attention to the details. But I think you just gave us some really good things to think about on our next trip, which is to know that it's not a if but a when thing, and to look for those signs of, am I in the right area? And then once you feel like you're in a good area, go ahead and commit to that area for the rest of the day.
So I have one more thing to add to that. That was very like proven fact. Like, it's pretty wild. I mean, I know you've experienced this, but it's just really will touch on what you just said. So I was all the way at the Eastern Shore yesterday, right? On the beach over there, and I had bait 20 feet down, and I only seen a couple cobias in the morning. It was brutal, right? Travis and my friend Chris were about 8 to 15 miles away from me, right? On average. We were all spread out, and we were all going through the same thing. It's like, I got bait down deep. There's no fish here. Like, whatever.
Right.
But we all spread out because we're trying to figure out what's going on. So I am driving, and I'm like, man, what do I do? What do I do? It's like probably 1:45 at this point. And here comes a 50-inch cobia. I haven't seen one in hours. Probably realistically an hour and a half without seeing a fish. And that's brutal. That'll torture you.
Oh yeah. Especially on a charter.
Yeah, especially on a charter. So I throw so we throw in there, the guy hooks it, he's fighting it. And while he's fighting it, guess what happens? My phone rings. It's Travis. 8 miles away from me, 9 miles away from me, calls me on the phone. Yo, I just see my first fish. And I'm like, no way.
What?
I'm seeing a fish right now. Like, I'm fighting it. Chris calls me. He's 15 miles away. Yo, I just seen a pair. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, maybe they're coming up. And then we carry on. Probably 30 minutes later, Travis called me. He's like, yo, there's fish in all these bait schools. There's free swimmers, blah, blah. It's going off where I am. Chris calls me. Yo, I'm seeing packs of fish over here, and he's 15 miles away. And I'm over here. I'm seeing freaking triples, pairs, quad packs, 5 packs all over the place. And that was the rest of the afternoon. But the point of what I'm saying is it's like a universal pop. All of us were miserable.
Yeah.
All of us were calling each other, crying, saying like, yo, you seeing fish, seeing fish? No, 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 no. And then within 10 minutes of me seeing and hooking our first, or one of the first fish we've seen in hours, everybody calls across the entire Virginia place and just says, yo, we all saw our first fish. So it's a lot of just grinding and just being in the right area. And there's no right or wrong area necessarily, whether you go ocean, bay, beach, whatever. It's just if you can find the bait, rays, of course, or sharks even, or something like that to keep you in that area, those cobias are there. And when they come up, it seems like they're coming up everywhere. So whether you fished the beach all day and didn't see anything, and then you moved to, let's say, the third island, you finally started seeing fish, well, they were probably back up where you originally started. It was just a time of day thing.
Right. Man, I'm just thinking through this as you're talking about it, and it really makes a lot of sense because I think I've experienced something similar, not as like clear of a data point where like I got to talk to 2 different people in 2 different areas and it all went off at the same time. But it's one of those things where like we don't know, like nobody really knows the exact science of like why a cobia will swim on the surface. There's a lot of speculation for it. But I think what I'm hearing when I hear you talk about that, the saying like the all ships rise with the tide, like whatever's happening that causes them to come to the surface, like it makes more sense that it would be happening in like a region and not just like in a tiny little 1 square mile section of the bay. You know what I mean? So like whatever's happening, when it happens everywhere at the same time. And of the different contributing factors, what would you say next to bait, obviously, bait or rays, like next to structure, shall we say, what would you say is the next closest data point that you typically see changing or adjusting when those fish come up?
You said, what about structure?
Like, so besides structure, meaning like the bridge or bait.
You're just saying, so like open water, what makes them come up?
Yeah, what other environmental factors, whether that's tide, current, sun, temperature, whatever, like what other factor do you tend to see changing the most when they do come up?
You want me to say typically or recently? That's a big difference because recently it's been crazy, but typically I have answers. Which one would you like?
Let's start with typically and then tell us what's happened more recently.
Okay, so typically is a location thing. Let me start with that. If you're in the ocean, let's say you're going to come out of Rudy Inlet and fish off the beach there, it's a great time. It's a great time of year for that. Late in the year, early in the year, ocean is always a solid bet. If there's no bait, there's no rays, whatever, blah, blah, and you're just talking why and when are they coming up. My belief in the ocean is like 2-3 o'clock it's usually around the second tide of like when you're cobia fishing. So if you come out and the first tide switch was at 9 o'clock, right? Or I don't fucking know. You just name a number. That first tide is just sucky. You're going to see a few. But when that tide switches in the afternoon, that's when they come up. And I know this for a fact because when I used to do 5-6 hour charters, which I do 6s, but I used to offer 5s as well or 4s.
Yeah.
I had that so dialed in. So let's say I've been out there every day. They come up at noon, right?
Yeah.
Right at that tide switch. You know what I would do the next day?
Yeah.
I would tell my charter to meet me at
1.
I'd tell my charter to meet me at noon, so we're gonna be out there at 1. Next day, hey guys, we'll meet at 1. We'll be there by 2. You can track that pattern exactly to that. That's ocean related. And now that does somewhat apply to the bay, but the ocean is like, that is like I don't know what the science is there or why it's the second tide of the day, but that is a proven thing. You can track that to the minute. But as of recently, I have gone over every variable to the point where even so yesterday and today, so they came up at, like I said, 2:00 yesterday-ish, somewhere around that time frame.
Yeah.
I was right next to some crab pots, and it had already been outgoing for like 3 hours, and they came up. Okay, so you're thinking outgoing tide, halfway through the tide, that's when they're going to come up. So that means that they came up at 2, it's going to be 3 tomorrow. Today I come out, incoming tide. I have no idea when the switch is going to be. It's an incoming tide at this point, and guess what? They're up. I dude, I've done this for so many years, and I have no idea what's going on with them. I just know you got to, if you don't see them, they're coming. At some point in the day, you're going to smoke them.
Yeah.
Recently has been weird. I mean, we had patterns before the red tide showed up. We did have a consistent pattern of where to be at this time, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But as of recently, I do believe this red tide is causing some weird inconsistencies. And if you just find the right clarity water, you might find them right away. Who knows? But a lot of the water is not necessarily red. It's like this like brownish tint to it. Like, you know, when you cobia fish, and you're just like, this water just doesn't feel right.
Feel good.
It's like kind of like you get that vibe. And that's been a lot of our water recently. And, you know, if I don't like it, I just keep moving and look at my machine, see if there's bait in the area, blah, blah, blah. But there is one, sorry, I'm talking a lot, but there's one other thing.
Oh, you're good.
Is when you find the bait on the surface, there's cobias on the surface as well. When the bait that you're seeing is on the machine or like 5 feet down or so, you know, you see like the little brown schools.
Yeah.
Those cobias are not on the surface yet. But as soon as you see those bunkers come up to the surface and start like to the point where they're rippling, it's time. The cobias are going to be there. It's like everything is correlated with coming up. As soon as everything comes up, the cobias come up with it.
Whether you're spotting birds over the bay, watching a rod tip, or navigating back to the dock, clear vision matters on the water and everywhere else. Gilbert Eye Care has served Hampton Roads families since 1971, providing personalized eye care and quality eyewear for adults and children. The team at Gilbert Eye Care can also help you find polarized sunglasses that reduce glare and keep your eyes comfortable on the water. Visit them in Virginia Beach or Norfolk, or schedule an appointment at gilberteyecare.com. Gilbert Eye Care, proud sponsor of the Lower Chesapeake Bay Fishing Report.
I agree. And I've definitely watched that too. It's like you'll be looking at the bait balls and you can see they're 2 or 3 feet below the surface. And it's like, you know, there's probably some cobias in those bait balls, but you just know you're not going to be able to see them. And you have to really wait, like you said, until those rays almost have their wingtips out of the water or those bunkers are up on the top, you know, flicking and flipping. That like whatever changes in the science or the makeup of that top water column, that top 3 feet of the water, something happens, and then all of a sudden those cobias want to be in it. And it's just, I wish we could figure that out one day. Maybe somebody listening to this knows what's going on and can send us an email or something, but something happens, and then all of a sudden they're there. And I think that just helps me, as probably many of the listeners, to not feel as crazy thinking that like they're doing something wrong or they're in the wrong area or their glasses aren't, you know, tinted enough or whatever the thing is. It's like, no, you're not crazy. You're not a bad fisherman. They're sporadic and they decide when they want to come up. And it's not something that we can necessarily put on the calendar at a certain date and time.
It's been, I mean, I've done this I've sight casted cobias for 16 years, and I know basically nothing on why they come up. It makes no sense in my head. I mean, I just know one thing. This year has been phenomenal for numbers. And so there's really no wrong location. Like, and that's I've moved my boat.
That's good to know.
I've been out of 4 different inlets in the last 4 days.
Wow.
If that tells you anything. I've been out of Rudy, Lynnhaven, Willoughby, Eastern Shore. I've gone out of all of them.
Interesting.
Every day I have caught fish. It's just, you know, what time. So they're everywhere right now. It's just, if you go, You just need to dedicate some time in whatever area you're in. Just hang out. Just chill out. They're
Yeah.
coming. They're literally
Yeah.
everywhere. You just gotta hang out and just wait. Be patient.
Yep.
Don't freak out. Don't look at social media because
Yeah.
if they're on buoys or what a turtle or whatever, that doesn't count as somebody caught a fish. That's just a fish on structure. Like
Right.
I'm talking about
Right.
open water cobias. You just gotta hang out and just wait right now because it
Yep.
might be a morning thing, midday thing, afternoon thing, might be all day. Who knows? But it's changing every day right now.
Yeah. And I know that there's some that have been caught out by the windmills. And so it's like, it's good to know, like you're saying, that there's a lot of fish out there and they're in many areas. It's just a matter of like the time of day. So that helps people be patient. I feel like we've done a good job kind of like outlining the like how to locate and find and see cobias when you're cobia fishing. And then just real quick, hit on like, I know that there's different types of hooks people like to use, leader material. Just kind of remind us, like these days, like what kind of setup are you using? Couple different, you mentioned some baits, running live baits like finfish and eels, but I think everybody kind of at this point knows like what the options are for live baits. Do you have any favorite artificials that you're using right now?
Yeah. So when the bunker shows up, the menhaden, when they're around, I see them stop eating aggressively on eels and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
try to switch over to something that looks like a bunker, and a twitch
Yeah.
bait is a solid lure. It's a I
Okay.
think they're the 6-inch Yozuri twitch baits. I think that's what
Okay.
the length of them is. It's Yozuri twitch bait, but they're a subsurface lure. They don't sink. They come down maybe like, I don't know, 4 inches, and you just twitch them past them, and they seem to fire up on that for artificial. The only downfall
Okay.
of it is it's 2 treble hooks. So I try to only
Yeah.
throw them at bigger fish because if you've
Yeah.
ever dealt with a 38-inch cobia going psycho in your boat with 2
No
treble
good.
hooks, it's not a good time.
No good.
But that would
No.
be, and actually, believe it or not, we caught 4 on bucktails today. So they were still eating those
Wow.
pretty aggressively. But the twitch bait
Yeah.
is probably, if I had to choose one lure this time of year, a twitch bait's the one. Missouri twitch bait.
Okay. Yeah, and I would go back to something that Captain Clint Carpenter said on last week's show. Like, if and when you get the opportunity to harvest a cobia, always take the time to cut the stomach open and just look at the contents of the stomach and match the hatch. So, like you're saying, if they're feeding on bunker, that 6-inch, profile fish, that twitch bait that looks like a fish is a perfect, match of the hatch, so to speak, when they're not eating eels and whatnot. And then I know your team circle hook. When we last spoke, it's now mid-August. Are we still team circle hook?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Them circle hooks, dude.
Okay.
I'm telling you that was the biggest game changer. I remember, what was it, like 2 years ago, I called you. I was so angry because you were telling me a hook to freaking throw. I kept pulling them off, and then I couldn't. My confident hook kept pulling them off. And after fishing in Florida, I threw away a circle hook for everything down there, and I was like, I'm freaking trying it. What do I have to lose? Pull off another fish? And man, I'm telling you, it's got to be 98% catch ratio on the circle hook. A true circle, not an offset circle, a true circle. And the thing about that I really love about the circles that's super nice is when people cast and hook them, if they eat, you don't have to yank. I can put the boat in light reverse and come tight for you. It's not catastrophic. And the other thing about the circle hook is you don't have to yank to set the J hook, like you yank the bait and it flies out of their mouth or rips the bait off the hook. With a circle hook, if you pull the bait out of their mouth, you don't rip it off the hook, and that fish comes right back and eats it again. So, but those circle hooks, man, I'm telling you, if you ain't tried them, if nobody's tried a circle hook, I know it's scary to not set the hook. Try it. It's a game changer, and they're always hooked perfectly. And especially if you're throwing an undersized fish that you're not going to harvest, they're always hooked perfectly, and you can unhook them and let them go, and they live just fine.
That's a big deal. And again, I told people earlier in this show, it's like, hey, when charter captains talk, you have to listen. So not offset, but inline. And why is that? What's the difference there in terms of like getting that hook set? Why does the offset not work as well?
Well, I mean, so the offset is just offset. So it actually, I think you could technically yank it. I've really never used the offset because if I'm going to use a circle hook, I'm going to use a circle hook, But I think the
Right.
offset is
Right.
slightly bent out. So it's pretty much still a J hook, but not, it's kind of like a hybrid. But the circle, I would say 99.9% of the time will always have them hooked in the corner of the mouth, all fish. And it hooks them right in the lip where they're, they got the bone, the cartilage, and then their skull, of course. And it hooks them right in the corner.
Yeah.
And it does not hurt them in any way. And that's honestly the best place you want to hook them. I mean, there's no better place than the corner of the mouth.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can think of several times where I've, had issues with them breaking off because, the hook's down in their gullet and then the leader material is grinding against their teeth and their cartilage and something happens, so it's like, that is the ideal spot. You got the most head control. You can visually see that they're hooked good and take your time with the fight. You're able to, even if you go so far, like let's say it's a really big fish, you can treat it like a tuna, where you're like, okay, the fish is hooked in the left side of the mouth. So let's fight it off the starboard side because that's where it's going to naturally like continue to swim with the boat instead of constantly swimming to the motors type thing. So there's lots of wisdom in what you just said. And I haven't been Cobia fishing much this year. I plan to get back out there soon. I will definitely try a circle hook in your honor.
Yes.
And it'll be hard to not set the hook because I think that's part of the fun that some people get fired up about. But having a 90+% hookup ratio is way cooler than setting the hook. It's kind of like it's like being on the golf course and be like, dude, I just hit a 350-yard drive. Sick. What'd you get on the hole? Double bogey. But man, I hit it really far. It's like, well, the only thing that really counts is the score. So anyways, well, man, is there anything else? So it's mid-August. We've got the rest of August and most of September to continue fishing the harvest season. What comes up on the horizon for Fineo when we get through the end of September and into October? What kind of trips are available then?
So we'll obviously be targeting, fall is always great for the redfish. As long as this red tide gets out of here that we were just talking about, which it's going to. It's clearing up every day. But the red drum, that's what I usually do till, mid-October-ish. I usually do speckled trout. And then we burn up some small speckled trout. They're anywhere from 18 to 25, 24 inches. And then we usually go out and bottom fish for some redfish. And they're all catch and release, but they're huge. They're 46 to 55 inches. So that's usually what I do in the fall. And in the wintertime, I go to Florida, but that's what I'll be doing around here. So
very cool. And if folks want to get up with you and book one of those trips, what's the best way they can contact you to look at your calendar and trip types and book one of those trips?
So we actually just opened up our 2027 season. We're fully booked up for this year, but we got a lot of people booking up for next year. We got prime dates. So everybody's taking August right now. If you don't know, August is always my favorite time of year. But you can contact us. My phone number is 757-652-8260. Or, of course, my Instagram is Fineo Sport Fishing, FINAO Sport Fishing. And you can shoot me DMs, check out our pictures. I try to post on my stories so you can see what's going on out there every day. That's the best way to get a hold of me.
Absolutely. And congrats again on becoming a dad recently to your beautiful daughter, January. I know you and Jenna are over the moon becoming parents. And I also wanted to highlight the fact that you guys do something cool on your trips, which is the angler gets involved. You let your anglers cast off of your casting platform up front, which is really fun. You can get in the game and actually be part of the catching and hooking part, which is really neat.
Yeah, man. That's my, like, I don't know. There's nothing better than taking somebody out there. It's never caught a cobia and they get to experience it all. They see it, they cast. I'm, trying to coach them through it. I get my mate on the bow if it's a little questionable, like, hey, okay, crank now, twitch, whatever, blah, blah. And then they get the whole experience, hooking it, fighting it. I even let my people net them. I don't care. Just as long as the fish sees a bait, just you can run the whole show yourself. I'm just going to sit up here and point them out. So
just drive and point.
Yep. I love getting people fully involved with the whole experience. Whatever they want to do, man. It's a good time. We have fun out there.
That's awesome. Good. And that's what it's all about too at the end of the day is making memories with people that you love and having a good time doing it. So Captain Austin, thanks for being on the show, man. Always a pleasure. Always enjoy your insights and just the what you bring to the fishery, man. It's really something special. So keep doing what you're doing. I'll look forward to catch up with you soon.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, guys. That's going to wrap up that first segment talking about the red tide, the cobia fishing. Man, I don't know about you, but I picked up a lot of really good nuggets in that segment. Really, just things that are going to help me be more patient and deliberate next time I'm cobia fishing. So, hopefully, you guys learned a thing or two there. Stick around for a quick word from our sponsors, making this content free for you each and every week. We'll be back with you real soon.
Turn your dock into more than just a place to park your boat with Slipski's Dorado Oasis cover. Engineered for both beauty and protection, the Dorado Oasis transforms your dock into a shaded, all-weather living space, perfect for relaxing by the water or entertaining friends. Built from marine-grade aluminum and premium fabric, it also provides year-round protection from sun, rain, and debris. Whether you're lounging dockside or keeping your boat covered and ready to go, Slipski delivers comfort, convenience, and peace of mind. Slipski, think outside the boathouse. Visit slipski.com. If you spend time on the water, you're going to want to download this app. The new Ceto app is the quickest and most innovative way for all boaters to get help on the water. Automatic GPS sharing, coastal marine forecast by zone, real-time wind conditions, radar, and interactive tide charts with maps makes this app essential for daily boating. It's built for ease of use and reliability. It's all things boating, all in one finely designed app. Download it for free today. All right, you guys, as always, it's so fun to catch up with Captain Austin Hain. He always brings a fun, honest, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. And I just love his passion for fishing. He texted me shortly after we wrapped up, and it's just cool to get to talk to somebody who truly loves what they do and is so passionate about it. Somebody else who's that way is Captain Mike Hosang with Fishing for Mortgages. I don't know anybody loves to get under the water more than you do. Welcome back to the show, Cap. How are we doing?
Hello, hello. Very good, very good.
Good deal, man. Well, we got a little bit to talk about. We've got a very interesting fishing tournament coming up. That's going to be a spearfishing tournament, which is super cool. Spearfishing and regular anglers. And then also want to get into some fish preparation techniques, if you'll call it that. And then also hear about some of your recent trips. And I'm dying to know if you've gotten to shoot a cobia yet. I know it's like almost the middle of August and you're probably way overdue. So let's just start off with that. Have we shot and harvested a cobia yet?
Not in Virginia waters.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I'll tell you something, though, I've gotten really, really good at is missing them.
That's not what I wanted to hear. That's not what we wanted to hear, man. So let's dive into that. Well, first, real quick. Recap for our listeners. Who's Mike Hosang? What is Fishing for Mortgages?
All right. So Fishing for Mortgages is a combination of what I do for a living, mortgages, residential and investment properties, primary residence, second homes, condos, yada, yada, yada. And I love fishing. That's a passion of mine, of course. And spearfishing is a added passion that kind of took over rod and reel, but I still love rod and reel. For all you rod and reel guys out there, I do that also. It's funny too because I'll post a spearfishing video or whatever, and they're like, "Oh yeah, why don't you try rod and reel sometime?" I'm like, "How do you think I got into this?"
That's so true, man. That is so true. Well, how do you miss a cobia? And let me rephrase the question. For someone who has been under the water with as much experience and time under the water as you, shooting everything from cubera snapper to yellowfin tuna, cobia, sheep's head, and everything in between that's harvestable, grouper, you name it. How does a miss like that? How does that even possibility?
Well, you start off by jinxing yourself. Okay. So I use a gun that's, again, I always say this, it's too big for the bay, but it's not too big for cobia. So when you're shooting sheep's heads or flounder, especially, can't use that gun at all to shoot a flounder because I'll just destroy the shaft. And a lot of the flounder, especially like windmills or like around the rocks, they're usually on the rocks, camo against the rocks. And so you either got to try to just stab them off of it. But bottom line is, somebody was asking me about the gun at the marina, and I was like, "Yeah, I've actually never lost or missed a cobia with this gun." And here we are, 5 misses later.
Sheesh,
It's
man.
it's pretty sad. I've shot plenty of cobias already this year, but all out of North Carolina and crystal clear water with a bigger gun. So here are my excuses.
Let's hear it.
All right, the first cobia was out at the windmills. That one I shot the back tail of it. I mean, I aimed at the noggin, and he was kind of quartering away. Shot the bottom half of the tail, and it tore out after a couple of seconds. Yeah, maybe like 30 seconds trying to ring him in.
Right.
And then he tore out. So that guy's going to have a pretty good scar on the back of his tail, but he'll survive.
Yep.
And then the next one I saw was actually a just completely random one in the beginning of July on the bridge near the third island. I'm shooting sheep's heads, and I'm following a monster pie plate of a sheep around one of the poles, and there's a freaking probably 45 pounder with a big old tail sitting there in the current. He had absolutely no idea I was there, and I just lean the gun around. I'm pointing at him. I mean, I'm the spear tip might be 3 inches away from this fish. I shoot, spear goes right underneath him, fish swims away. And I come up and I'm like, I can't even comprehend what's going on here. And then the third one, we were going to go out to the windmills, but the farther we got out, the worse the weather got. The wind was picking up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, well, let's just back off and hit a couple of buoys. So I jump in on a buoy. There he is. There's probably 5 of them on the buoy, and they kind of sink down below. It was crystal clear viz. I go down, and I'm holding on to the chain. I look around, and the biggest one was leading the pack, easily 50 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I just reach over kind of with one hand, take the shot. It goes right over the top of the fish, hits the sand, and I posted that video on Instagram. Hits the sand behind the fish, and the line gets caught on the top of the fin, so the fish turns around. So I thought I had actually hit him, but the line was on the dorsal fin, and it takes off, and it just kind of pulled the line out of the way, and then spear goes limp. And then when I went back and looked at the video, I was like, how do I keep missing? So
yeah, that would drive me nuts.
it was, yeah. So that's 3 in a row. And I'm like, what is going on? So it turns out the shaft was bent.
Of your spear?
Of the spear, yeah. And I don't know if travel
but we're talking like minor. Like you probably wouldn't have seen it with your naked eye unless you like held it up straight and looked down it, correct?
And that's exactly what happened. So it when it lays down in the rail of the gun, it was laying down perfectly fine. So the bend was up near the tip. And so either I hit a rock or a pole or something like that, or maybe during travel, back and forth, because, I've got all kinds of gear and stuff. So honestly, who knows what happened there? But I was re-rigging because after shooting some sheeps, the monofilament line gets all, hung up on the oysters and the mussels and stuff like that around the poles and the barnacles. And so it gets all haggard up. So I was replacing the line, and I looked down, and I'm like, it had like a downward bend at the end of it. I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
So I fixed all that. New spear tip, all new line. I went ahead and put new bands on it. Now my gun's ready to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so, all right, here we go. So I finally come across, and I'm getting lucky here because I'm finding fish on structure early in the season that are very, unusually on structure at this time of the year. And my buddy Tristan and I were at the windmills, got a full skunk at the windmills, and we're coming back. And I knew Austin and a couple of other guys were on the oceanfront fishing, checking the bait there, which that's a whole other story. But I was like, all right, well, look, let's just head back towards the oceanfront. once we get back into cell service, I'll call these guys up, see if they're seeing anything. If they're not, we'll go into the bay and look around and maybe shoot some sheep. So on our way in, we went to the very farthest buoys on the CB line.
Okay. Number 1 and 2, I guess.
Yep. Correct. 1 and 2, didn't see anything. Get to 3, didn't see anything. And I'm crossing the channel to 4. And you could see like this massive dark cloud. We weren't even there yet. This massive dark cloud.
That gets your blood pumping, dude.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yes.
So I yelled down. I was like, dude, they're stacked on this next buoy. He's like, I can't see anything. I was like, there isn't a cloud in the sky. The water's crystal clear.
And you could see.
It was darkness. It was like total shadow underneath that thing. And as we approached it, there were probably 50 cobias on this one buoy.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, here we go. So I'm like, all right, here's the plan. Easy peasy, right?
Hold on a second. Before you say anything else.
Go ahead.
This is like, you're talking about the epitome of being able to shoot a fish in a barrel.
Literally shooting. I mean, we're in an aquarium at this point. They're not going to leave the buoy, especially not until I shoot one.
Oh no. I hate the fact that we already know before the story that you missed. So I'm sure we're going to be just like heartbroken to hear this, but please continue.
This is the 4th and 5th miss in one buoy. Unbelievable. And it's just so bad.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I'm like, this is how it's going to work. Okay. And I'm like planning it out for him. I'm like, dude, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to go up there. They're all going to come at me because there's so many of them. They're going to want to, it's like a shark, they'll trail a shark. They'll trail a turtle. If I go up there and I don't seem aggressive, they'll come right up to me and they'll literally hang on me. I was like, then I'll look for the biggest one I could see. I'll shoot that one. I'll swim it away from the buoy. All the other ones, I'll go back to the buoy. You jump in, you shoot yours. We've got 2 in the box. We go home. Everybody's happy.
Right.
So I jump in exactly how I said it was going to be, right? As I'm swimming up to the buoy, there's quite literally no current whatsoever. I can see them off in the distance. I mean, there's easily 50 cobias. Most of them were small males, like in the 30 to 40 inch range.
Okay.
And there was 2 females that all these other smaller cobias, and there were probably some good 45, 46, 48 inch males also.
Right.
But these 2 females were absolutely dwarfing every other fish. One of them was 60 plus pounds. And so that's the one I target, right? So as I'm swimming up, all these males come, they're surrounding me, they're swimming between my fins, and I have no video of it because at the windmills earlier, my GoPro broke off of my gun, and that's in Davy Jones's locker.
Down there with one of my spin fisher reels. Anyways, carry on.
So I roll up, I'm like, oh my God, look at the size of that fish. Like the head wouldn't even fit in one of my 5-gallon buckets. I was like, oh man, this is glorious.
Yeah.
The problem was, and everybody's seen like in the mating ritual of these cobias, the males are just like bumping and ramming into the female.
Yeah.
And so she's swimming erratically. It's not like she's just cruising around,
Right.
Like if you see them on the bridge, they're cruising,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not, they're looking for food, not necessarily mating.
Right.
And so, I mean, I've got this thing dead to rights.
I don't like where this is going.
Golly, I'm down like 15 feet. I'm aiming up on her. I've got both hands I got my hand on the trigger, and I've got my other hand on the back of the butt. I'm like, here we go. The second I pull the trigger, the males start, accosting the female again. And I literally shot, and it went right underneath, like nicked her pec fin, and they like nicked one of the male's pec fins. The whole freaking school scatters. I'm like screaming underwater. How? This is the 4th miss. I should have had 4 big giant fish in the boat so far already this year, early season. And I'm like, I just can't believe it. So I come up, I swim away from the buoy immediately.
Yeah.
He's like, "Did you get one?" And I said a couple of choice words with a no in there somewhere. Then I'm like, okay. I reload. I'm looking back at the buoy. I'm probably, I don't know, 20 yards from the buoy, and they're back on the buoy. I'm like, okay, thank goodness they're back on the buoy. Get my act together, reload, go back. There's the other female, not as big, but probably still over 50. And I roll up on that one, and she's coming right at me. And at this point, I've lost my patience. My heart rate's up. I'm already mad at myself for the first miss. And she and like 8 other males are coming right at me. And instead of being patient and just waiting for them to come right at me and shooting it straight from the surface, I do a little duck dive, and that makes them all turn away before they got to me. And so now I'm chasing them like you should never do.
Yeah.
And they start disappearing off into the distance, and I freaking take a Hail Mary shot, miss that one too. So all the things that you shouldn't do. Always check your gear. I didn't check my gear. I'm shooting fish with a bent spear, and then I get all that worked out. And all the other things that you shouldn't do is lose your patience. And here I am, skunked in Virginia on cobias that I should have monsters in the box, but don't. They all go to live another day.
Well, those are some very tough lessons learned. I appreciate the transparency on the debrief because it does go to show that no matter what your level of proficiency is or time, these kinds of things can happen. It's like being a really good cobia fisherman and forgetting to use a sharp hook or missing the fact that you nicked your line when you were pulling your rods out of the truck or whatever the case. It's just stuff can happen. I've had really weird issues like, on most of these nets, these fraybill nets, they've got the little button that you press,
Mm-hmm.
and I've had times where, somebody, pressed the button and it receded within the thing, and you go to scoop the fish and then you pull and you get your handle back, but the net and the fish are still in the water. You're like, uh-oh, we got a problem.
100% I've done that.
I've had nets break, cobia swim through them, etc. At any rate, it's just funny how that stuff works. But anyways, so we can't talk about fish that we've shot, unfortunately. That's heartbreaking for all of us. And I know you more than anyone else, because this is like truly your passion. I mean, it's what you train for on land. You nerd out on the gear in a good way. And you're ready to go. And so to not be able to put it together and harvest one, I know has just got to be frustrating. But I feel confident you'll get them the next time now that you got things straightened out, literally.
Yeah, hopefully so. But now we got, like we talked about earlier, you got red tide coming in. That's pushing fish away. So they should be on structure now, but I actually haven't gone in the last week and a half because most of my dive guys are getting skunked out there. And most of the guys I know that I don't necessarily dive with, but I know are really good divers, are getting skunked, even on the sheeps. There's been some, random spots where you're diving, hit, 8 or 10 different sets, don't see anything, and then finally come across a couple of sets where they're all congregated for whatever reason, and you're able to, pluck some off. But red tide's been miserable.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, Austin was talking about it too, and just how much of a detriment it is to the area. It's something we can't really control because, when the sea surface temperatures get to this temperature and then the runoff happens and it blooms. I mean, I guess from your perspective as a spear fisherman, you get to go down in the water and see the different water columns. Have you ever been in the water near red tide and seen how deep it goes in the water column?
Yeah, in fact, so I haven't been in the red tide this year, but I want to say it was 3 years ago we had a pretty good red tide. Not anything to this magnitude.
Yeah.
Because this is the worst red tide I think I've ever seen. But yeah, about 3 years ago we had a pretty good red tide, and I thought we were out of it. We were out by the 4th island, and it can get pretty deep. I mean, I was 30 feet down, and the discoloration just came swathing through, and it also stinks. It's got a weird smell to it, especially when you're in the water. So we got out and moved up, and as the current was pushing its way out, because it was an outgoing tide that day,
Yeah.
it just kind of kept following us. We get a couple of dives in, and you could legit just see the fish were not interested, and they were leaving that area almost like real time.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. Well, in the world where you do kill fish, you know what? I'm sorry, harvest. I've been trying to get in the habit of using the word harvest because I feel like it helps to shift our mindset a little bit.
I
Kill,
agree.
ego, dumb, overkill, whatever. I feel like that's in one category. Harvest kind of makes you think more about like stewardship and sustainability and that sort of thing. So when you do get to harvest a cobia or a sheep's head, you're kind of like Bill Pappas and some others who are like really into it in the kitchen and into the prep. So talk us through, like, you've done some cool things with aging and that sort of thing. So how do you do your fish when you want to really make it taste its best?
Yeah, for me, especially spearfishing, the fish is already going to be bleeding, but let's say you get a high shoulder meat shot, it's not going to bleed a whole lot.
Right.
Regardless, no matter what, as soon as I get that fish in my hands, the very second I have that fish in my hands while I'm in the water,
Hmm.
yes, there are sharks to answer all those other questions. But for the most part, sharks are smart enough typically to know once you have a fish in your hands, you're also a predator. They leave you alone. At the same time, you're in the bay, can't see anything anyways. So you can't see if there's sharks around you anyway. So to
Right.
me, out of sight, out of
Yeah.
mind. But yeah, so
Sure.
I exactly sure.
Easy.
But yeah, I cut the gills and I bleed them. If you take the easiest thing to do is on a sheep's head because they have a really thick bloodline.
Yeah.
And so the easiest way to compare to see how good your meat is going to be is, if rod and reel or spearfishing, if you get a sheep's head, leave it, leave the guts in it, leave the bloodline alone, put it in the box, throw it on some ice, right? The
Right.
next one you get, cut the gills, bleed it, and then get the guts out. When you fillet, you're going to have like a deep pink, darkish pink fillet on the one that you didn't bleed, and you're
Yep.
going to have rainbow white meat on the one that you did bleed and gut.
Let me pause there. You use the term rainbow, and people are probably thinking, wait, doesn't that mean colors in the fish? No, when you see a true white cobia fillet, the translucence is so perfect that when the light hits it, you actually see the colors of the rainbow on it. And that's how
Yes.
clean the meat is. There's almost like a sheen that goes across it, if you will. It's funny. It's very, just looking at it visually makes you want to like slice a piece off for sashimi
Oh
because it
yeah.
just looks so, appetizing, I think would be the
Yeah,
word. But
for
you're so
sure.
right, man. It's such a difference. And I would also go so far to say is that there's a difference in how white the meat is and how dense the meat is based on the geography of where it was harvested.
I agree.
Whether that fish was offshore, near the mouth of the bay, off the ocean front, or way up, by, 36A and York 1 and 2. There's a difference in where they've been for the past several weeks and what they've been primarily feeding on that plays a part in their overall texture and taste.
Yeah, yeah, and especially what they're eating. If they're eating menhaden, it's going to be a little bit of a more oily taste. If they're eating crabs, it's going to be a little bit more of a sweet taste. The more
Hmm.
crustaceans a fish eats, usually the better they are.
Yep, I agree. So, what do you do that's unique when it comes to this aging thing that you've talked about before? So, it obviously starts with a properly iced, bled fish. How do you age it?
Yeah, and just real quick on the ice, I do an ice slush. So when you got your ice box
Yep.
filled with ice, that's fresh water. But if you add a little bit of salt water to it, not where it's like slushing all around and leaking out of your box every time you get underway, just put a little bit of salt water in there, and it actually gets colder than the ice itself because of the chemical reaction, I guess, with the salt and
Yeah. Yeah, because the
uh,
freezing temperature of salt water is lower than freezing temperature of water. So you can get that ice bath down into like I guess, high 20s, low 30s.
Yeah, it's super cold, and it
Yeah.
it brings your fish temp down rapidly, and so now you've got really cold flesh, and of course, the colder it is, the easier it is to fillet. Um, and some people will actually not even fillet it until a day later. They'll leave it in that ice bath brine for a whole like overnight, and then fillet it the next morning, and it's even that much better to fillet. But yeah, so go through all that. What I do is, because I don't have a dry aging machine, that obviously is your best course of action if you want to dry age. But I do like to dry age any of my fish. I've been doing it more this year than I have in years past. I dry age cobia for the last several years, and I do it the poor man's way. And the poor man's way is you get a really nice white chunk of meat, whether it's sheep's head or tog or cobia, whatever it is. You don't want any of the bloodline in there, because the longer you got a fillet sitting with bloodline on it, the more that bloodline is going to seep in. And no matter how well you bleed a fish, if they have a really thick bloodline, you're not going to get all of it out.
Right.
And you'll see that mostly, like I said, in a sheep's head. Sheep's head, they have that really wide bloodline.
Yeah.
So you get your nice white fillet, and then cut the rest of the bloodline, what's left, off that fillet. And then in the refrigerator, when I get home, I put one piece of paper towel on the fillet, and I put it in a Ziploc bag. So if there's 2 fillets, you got, a piece of paper towel on each
layered
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're not like wrapping it super tight. You're not putting 10, rolls of paper towels on it. Just like one little layer of paper towel on it
in between.
And then each morning when I get up, I go do my routine or whatever, but each morning I'll change out that paper towel for a new piece of paper towel, and I'll do that for probably 10 days.
Wow.
And what happens is the outer, it prevents what usually spoils your fish sitting in a Ziploc bag.
The juices, right?
Is the juices.
Yeah, which bacteria can grow in.
Correct. And so what this does is it takes that juice into the paper towel away from the fillet, and then it eventually just dries the outer part of the fillet, keeping the inside of fillet super moist, super tender. And once you get to 10 days, what I do is just, shave off with, get a nice sharp fillet knife, shave off the outer edge. And I eat any of those fish that I just named, and others, of course.
Yeah.
Sashimi. You can just, and you want to talk about like the rainbow that we talked about earlier. It's amazing. And people are like, oh, I can't believe you eat cobia raw. If you do the poor man's dry age or an actual dry age, like my buddy Garrett up north, he's got a dry age machine, and he's wearing me out about getting one, because he's like, you got to try this. It's way better than your paper towels. And, I'm like, yeah, I like the paper towels. But I should, and I probably will get an actual dry age setup, because, then you're doing it properly. But if you don't have one and you want to try it my way, give it a whirl. It's so good. And that I'll send you a picture of the cobia that I did last year, and sitting on a cutting board, and I made, I just cut some thin slices of it. I did it for 10 days on that cobia, and man, absolutely amazing.
So it's interesting to talk about doing this cobia. I don't think you could necessarily do this with flounder or sheep's head as easily, because it is less dense. Cobia, what's unique about cobia, like a wahoo or a swordfish, is that it's super dense meat. And I remember talking to somebody a while ago about like steak. Like, why is it that you have to cook chicken all the way through, but you could cook things like a pork tenderloin or a steak medium or medium rare? And it's about the density of the meat. The bacteria doesn't have the ability to permeate that density to the inside. So by doing that dry age process you're talking about, and then just shaving off the outside, you have clean, safe to eat meat on the inside that has, dry age to become, really, really tasty and a great texture. Now you're making me want to try that. I've never actually tried the dry aged cobia. So when you get done dry aging a cobia fillet, do you still just prepare it like you normally would, or do you do something different with it since it's been dry aged?
Normally, you can cook it however you want to cook it at any time, whether it's dry aged or not. You can just, even if you dry age, you're still going to have a nice, a more tender fillet of whatever the fish is when you dry age it. But the reason I do it is because I want to eat it sashimi, and it makes it so much better.
Right.
I mean, like night and day better. Again,
Gotcha.
when I send you that picture, you're gonna see, and you're gonna be like, "Holy moly! I definitely have to try it now."
All right. Well, we'll put the picture on the post on social media along with it. I
Yes,
just think it's cool that you do it that way for sashimi as well, because people don't typically think sashimi when they think of cobia. They think of probably Andy Kim on sashimi sport fishing, but
right.
it's definitely something cool that you can do. And then something else we wanted to talk about on this segment was this tournament that's going to be coming up where we've got the two categories, the angler and the spear fisherman. So just real quick, when is this thing being planned for? What's the date of the event?
It looks like September 20th is the plan. It's the inaugural one,
Okay.
and I somewhat know the guys that are putting it on, and I'm
Okay.
going to be sponsoring, of course, the Fishing from
Nice.
Mortgages buckets
Yep.
for all the entries, and I think they're trying to get up to 40. I think they will. They've got a lot of traction from a lot of right now good spearfishing companies. Dano at Mako is coming in, and then a guy named Mark Labashetta from down in Wilmington. He used to spearfish a lot up here, but I think he's going to be sponsoring some Salvamar stuff, and those are some big guys with some big brand names for sure when it comes to spearfishing. And then he's got some rod and reel stuff coming as well. Of course, he's got our buckets, and then everything is going to the Honor Foundation, which I think,
Okay.
and I don't know, again, I don't know a lot about it right now to speak intelligently, but I think the Honor Foundation is specifically for a foundation set up by Navy SEALs. And then one of the promoters is a retired Navy SEAL as well. So for a
Very
really, really
cool.
good cause.
Yeah, that's a huge part of our local community is our Navy SEAL community, and you know, uh, I don't know that there's anybody in the military community that would disagree in terms of these guys. The time that they commit to their job and to the country is huge. I've got some close friends that are in that community, and sometimes when there's a lot of activity around the world, things that we do or don't know about, they're gone from home as much as 270, 290 days or more out of the year away from their families. And you can check them out at honor.org. And it's got a bunch of really cool information about, their team, their values, their programs, what they do. And just taking a look at them is worth doing. And so if this is going to benefit them 100%, that's fantastic. And I'm kind of excited that it's on September 20th because I mean, we've had in years past where like that end of year push of fish leaving the bay can be wild,
Yes.
like absolute pod city. So that would be pretty cool. And again, that's September 20th, and they're hosting it at Chick's Oyster Bar for the party. They've got a captain's party on Thursday the 17th from 6 to 8. I'm
And
sorry.
that's at the
captain
shack.
That's at the shack. Yeah, 6 to 8 at the shack. And then the actual event will be on the 20th, which I think would then be what, 18, 19, 20 Saturday?
I believe so.
Okay, cool. No, hold on a second. Let me look at a calendar. No, the 20th is Sunday. So the event would actually be on Sunday, the 20th. Yep.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Lines
Yep.
in at 7 a.m. Launch from any Virginia boat ramp. The dock party starts at 2 and the weigh-ins are from 2 to 5. And it's also worth noting that this is not just cobia. So there is a first, second, and third place prize in each division, anglers and spear fishermen. And then there are 2 Calcutta levels. And then there are sheepshead, drum, spadefish, and bluefish, and then cobia as well. And it's a 2 fish stringer for the cobia. So
Yep.
very cool. Well, that'll be exciting, man. I think we got to obviously talk about safety. So what safety protocols are one thing under normal fun fishing conditions, but you add in the excitement and the pressure of a tournament. How could that cause challenges for an inexperienced spear fisherman who maybe gets fired up, enters the tournament, gets out there? What are going to be the common misses that could potentially turn into something dangerous or life-threatening?
Yeah, I mean, even an experienced Spiro, getting into a tournament, you're going to want to push yourself,
Right.
and a lot of the times, you're getting tired. Diving
Mm-hmm.
takes a lot out of you. You're also typically not eating a lot because
Yeah.
your body is getting compressed on your dives. So the more you eat, and you have a bunch of food in your system, that's going to want to come up, and that makes diving uncomfortable. So a lot of people that are diving, a lot of Spiros, they typically don't eat a lot of big foods or like a lunch at lunchtime. Even when you're fishing, they're like, hey, let me go grab a big old sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Very few of us do that, because when we kind of pick food, pick at food rather throughout the day, as opposed to like eating a big meal. So you're not really eating a ton. Hopefully you're staying as hydrated as you can be. I drink up a lot of electrolyte drinks while I'm diving, because when you're in the water, you have to pee a lot.
Right.
And so you're becoming dehydrated a lot more quickly when you're in the water. So, one, staying hydrated. Two, when you're in a tournament, the pressure is on, there's potential money at stake.
Mm-hmm.
You're either going to shoot a big fish and you're undergunned, or you're diving too much, too far, too long, and you're tired, you're dehydrated, you haven't eaten enough, and now you're becoming less efficient, and putting more pressure on yourself with a tournament could just lead you to push a little bit too far and get yourself into what we call shallow water blackout situations.
Yeah.
And a lot of divers, especially new divers that haven't ever taken a pre-dive safety course, which, if I had to put a percentage on it with a guess, I'd say probably 75% of the Spiros in the Chesapeake Bay have not taken a free dive certification class, and don't know a whole lot about shallow water blackout, and don't know how to help their buddy if they do have a shallow water blackout. So it's extremely important to know that stuff. If you guys are listening and you haven't taken a free dive course, at the very least, look up a couple of shallow water blackout videos on YouTube, just to get an idea of what it looks like. And while you're looking at that, what will come up is people that have had shallow water blackouts. So do a little bit of further of a deep dive, pun not intended. I guess that's subconsciously intended. But go a little bit further and look up how to help somebody that has shallow water blackout. So then you'll see the how-to videos that pop up from actual free dive courses and free dive instructors. Yeah. So that's the biggest thing. It's just, be careful, make sure you're watching each other, and don't, it's a fish. No fish is worth your life. 100%.
Yeah, that's what I always remember from one of the first times we talked. Like, there's no fish worth your life, and also make sure that you have somebody on board that's trained in CPR, because the secondary to you might make a mistake in the water and come up blacked out or come up with water in your lungs. Having somebody on the boat that's ready to perform CPR and save your life could also be critical. And at the very least, that's to me a prerequisite for being out there, being underwater, because you're putting yourself in such a dangerous situation, whether it seems that way or not. And I think that's the ticket. It's like, we've talked about it before, like, oh, it's so exciting, just run out to the windmills, and you forget to throw your EPIRB on board or your PLB, and you haven't communicated a float plan. It's like the excitement can cause us to just look over basic safety 101 stuff, and for the most part it's not an issue, because you get lucky and you go time after time, and you build up almost a sense of it'd be easy to get complacent because you've done it a couple times and had no issues. And so you just don't think twice about it until there is an issue, and then it catches you off guard and you're not ready and you don't have a plan, and then somebody gets hurt or dies. And then I couldn't live with myself if somebody got hurt or died and I look at the situation and there were several factors within my control that I could have done differently had I been prepared or planned ahead or taken a course, etc.
Yeah.
That'd be a tough one to live with.
Another thing I want to brush on is a trauma kit. So
Trauma kit.
Yeah, most boaters have a first aid kit on
Okay.
board. You got Band-Aids, you got Neosporin, you got maybe like the little random butterfly suture things, but you don't have a tourniquet.
So for like serious, like I got caught
Yeah,
up in the propeller, or
right.
a
Yeah,
fillet
or I
knife
got
went through
shot with a
me.
spear that was a loaded gun that somebody brought on board and was facing me. And when I handed it to him, I pulled the trigger. Or, I mean, just somebody recently in California, in fact, he's recovering fine, but they had a loaded gun on the boat. I don't know the full story of how the gun actually fired, but he got shot in the chest by like one of his dive buddies' loaded spear gun. It missed his heart by 2 inches.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, clipped his lung and went completely through his body. How about that for a bad day on the water?
And he survived?
He survived. Yeah, yeah, he's gonna make a full recovery,
Holy smokes, man.
but literally missed his heart by 2 inches. So
So
it can get hairy. I mean, it's
geez.
an underwater crossbow.
I mean, I was about to make a really untimely joke about missing targets and you and the. No, I'm just kidding.
Right? Yeah.
I was gonna say if anybody was gonna shoot him, he should have hoped that you were the one pulling the trigger.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
I'm sorry, that's too soon. I know you're gonna hit your target. You're the next time we talk on a podcast, you're gonna be like, yeah, the last two fish, I stoned them perfectly. Done.
That's right. The last cobia I shot, I stoned him cold. In fact, all the ones that I've shot in North Carolina, stoned them.
Yeah.
So that's what I get. Like I said, I jinxed
want.
myself. I was talking smack with the gun I was using. I never missed. Yada yada. Here I am. Can't shoot a fish anymore. But back to the trauma kit. So
yeah.
The trauma kit I have came from Frontline Freediving, a buddy of mine, Sam, who was also my freedive instructor when I first got freedive certified. He doesn't make them anymore, but everybody under the sun knows the qualified captain.
Yeah.
And so if you go on the qualified captain's website, they have a trauma kit that you can get, because the guy that runs it, his name is Aaron, and he's a really good Spearo as well. And so he's got a good trauma kit set up. In fact, I think they've got a couple of different, versions that you can buy. And, are they cheap? No. Are funerals cheap? No.
Right.
So,
good point.
Pick your poison. You spend a couple of $100 on a trauma kit, or you spend a couple of $1,000 because you didn't have the right protocol and the right safety equipment to get that person home. I mean, most of the like really dangerous injuries where the person survived is because the people on the boat, like you talked about, either knew CPR or had a proper trauma kit, knew what to do, either watch videos or had proper training, whatever it is. The people on that boat knew what to do and had the equipment to save that person's life and get him back without either bleeding out or, able to like plug up a cut properly or cut off circulation properly, whatever it is. And am I medically trained? No. But could I put a tourniquet on? Absolutely. Do I have a trauma kit on my boat in my dive bag? Absolutely.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense, man. Like you said, I bet you we could go look at some statistics and find that every one of those stories where somebody survived the unthinkable, it's because somebody was there, at the right time. In fact, I've got good friend, coworker whose father, actually, you'll appreciate this. He's 68 years old and still trail rides on his mountain bike.
Nice.
And was unaware, I mean, in awesome health, nothing on his regular checkups, nothing. Finished a trail ride and went to his knees, with chest pain. And just as he's calling he didn't call 911, as he is starting to yell for help, the local sheriff just happens to pull through the parking lot of the place and got him to a hospital immediately, and they were able to save his life, and he ended up having heart surgery. He experienced the widowmaker heart attack, but because they got him to help so quickly, And because he was in such good physical shape, his body was able to endure what happens during a widowmaker heart attack, which is normally where the I'm gonna butcher this explanation, but basically the blockage happens so fast that the arteries or whatever around it basically explode because of so much pressure. But his heart was so strong, his body was so strong that it was able to like sort of endure those extreme moments and get through it until he could get help. But anyways, all those stories that you're talking about, I'm sure there's somebody nearby was prepared, and that's the ticket.
Yep.
So as we wrap up, if folks have questions about safety gear, best spearfishing gun to use for the appropriate species, the right fins, suit, tricks and tips for how to get in and out of said suit, or maybe a mortgage product question, what's the best way that they can contact you, Mike?
Yep. Call me anytime, 757-478-6122. You can get at me on any of the social media apparatuses. Facebook is just me, Michael Hosang, and then on Instagram, it's Fishing for Mortgages. And of course, you see my buckets all over the place, and that's got all my information on them as well. So hit me up if you need a bucket.
Those buckets are awesome. In closing, and you know me personally, you know that I'm pretty biased towards certain fishing tournaments. I just want to remind folks that when there's a fishing tournament opportunity, the best thing you can do is look into the tournament organizers, look at who it's benefiting, and make sure that it's in alignment with this fishing community and what we're all about. Don't get caught up in something that ain't here for the right thing. So with that, we're going to wrap it up this week. Mike, thanks for being on the show, man. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for always having me.
Absolutely. Folks, that's going to wrap up a really cool segment talking about getting underwater, red tide, how it affects things, and a lot of safety tips there that were really awesome to remember. But I especially enjoyed talking about dry aging cobia. That was super cool. I'm gonna have to try that next time I get one of those offshore cobias. Till next week, y'all be safe out there. Have fun, enjoy yourselves, and we look forward to catching up with you real soon.
When you're on the water, your boat deck should work as hard as you do. Deck-It Hampton Roads offers custom non-skid marine flooring solutions built for comfort, traction, and a clean finished look. Whether you fish hard, cruise with the family, or spend long days barefoot on deck, Deck-It helps make your boat safer, cooler, and more comfortable underfoot. Their process includes digital scanning, CAD design, CNC precision cutting, and professional installation for a custom fit instead of a one-size-fits-all solution. Ready to upgrade your boat? Call Deck-It Hampton Roads at 434-378-8004 for an estimate and to see how good your deck can look and feel when you deck it out. All right, y'all, that's going to wrap it up this week. Please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts. And remember, to get your free APCO Camo Sunglasses Cleaner Cloth, text the acronym LCBFR to 779-345-2918 to get your promo code and be added to our email list so we can send you the new show each week. You guys keep on whacking them and be safe out there.